Hi guys, so today is the 5th of August, and today I want to talk about something a little bit different than what I normally do. So I'm an author and I wrote 2 fantasy books, so I will introduce myself first. This is The Girl Behind the Glass. This is my dark retelling of Snow White, with witches and a stepsister for the Snow White character, and mages and lots of dark magic and ghostly things. And then this is my book Steel Princess, which is a YA fantasy with futuristic elements, including a giant robot kingdom with an evil robot queen. And so these are my books. But again, we are not talking about that today. But just so you have a little bit of context of what I normally talk about. So this year has been a bit strange for me, to be honest. And it all started probably August last year, but you could kind of count from October last year, but from July last year. And this is about my health, and how my perspective has changed on my health over this year so far, and a little bit of last year as well. So there's been a lot going on. Not major things, I know people have had a lot worse. I'm just talking about my perspective of keeping myself more healthy and trying to improve my health in my own personal way. And maybe it will help you, because people on YouTube and people that have been doing things online have helped me and inspired me to get things started. So maybe I can do the same for someone else. I don't know. Or maybe, you might just be able to relate to what I'm talking about. So it all started in, let's say, July last year. So I work in a school. I'm a TA, teaching assistant, and I work in a secondary school. And I have been for a couple of years now. Really enjoy it. And last year I had my very first 6 weeks holiday since I was at school and having my 6 weeks off. So my 6 weeks, working 6 weeks, that was really nice. And last year I decided that I wanted to go to the gym, and get more fit and things like that. And I did kind of get on a good roll with trying to eat a bit more healthy and stuff like that. And I started going to the gym, and I started going to do just the treadmill and the spin classes, on the bikes. And I met some really lovely people, met some great friends there. And I did keep going during the holidays. I was going a couple of days a week, and then I tried to continue into September from the holiday, which I did manage to, but it was a bit more difficult because the gym is it's sort of on my way home from work to home. So it wasn't too bad, and some days I was able to get the bus, but I did find that I lost momentum a lot from going to the gym. And unfortunately I stopped going as much when I went back to work. I just found it really difficult to fit into my life. I guess is normal, really. And obviously, even if you are feeling like you're getting more stuff done in terms of your own health and feeling like you're improving things, you can still have times where you're it drops. You're not feeling as motivated and you lose progress a little bit or whatever. So yeah, I was starting to do things, and I was trying to continue. I've also have a really bad habit of drinking fizzy drinks, a lot of fizzy drinks, and I used to be slimmer. I say that I have put on weight over the last couple of years, and I think that is because when I was working at an arcade a couple of years ago, I used to cycle to work, and then I don't drive. So I used to cycle a lot of places when I was living with my parents at home in Bletchley as well. And I used to cycle everywhere. I used to be a lot more active generally, and I still love cycling. The only problem is where I work now is the other side of Milton Keynes to where I live. And I did try cycling when I first started, and that was actually going okay until it was taking me 2 hours each way, which is not good. And I've worked closer places where I've been able to cycle and it would take me half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever. So that was what I was used to. So it wasn't great, but when I was at the arcade I was still doing that. So yeah. But when I went to the school, it wasn't as easy. And then I started getting the bus, and then I started doing the gym from the bus. Unfortunately, over time, I did stop going to the gym because it was expensive. I wasn't going there as much as I wanted to. Um, and I don't know, I just lost momentum, I guess. So I lost my happy progress. I didn't feel like it was getting me anything, and it was costing me a lot of money for what I needed. Although there was a swimming pool and the treadmill and the spin classes were great. I was doing the Zumba with a friend, and then we'd meet up and we'd go together to Zumba and stuff, and it was really nice. I did enjoy it, but it was too much for what I wanted to, and I was just really struggling to get there and make enough of it to be paying what I was paying every month. So yeah, I stopped going. Around the same time, I was feeling really like, I don't know if because of the stop going, or just, but even before this, I started going to the gym, and before that, and during that time, I was still feeling very like sluggish, and I have always felt like that. I just feel like very exhausted all the time. I'll just be walking around just feeling absolutely like my body is heavy, like to walk. I just don't have the energy. Um, and yeah, maybe I think a lot of it was probably my diet, and still might be my diet. So yeah, I thought, well, I was also having a lot of like heart palpitations, and so I'd get the odd bout of dizziness and things like that. So I thought, um, and then unfortunately, the thing that triggered everything, my cycle started being really off. Like it was just all over the place. I've never been regular, but it started to become really irregular. Like, I'd be like 3 weeks late, and then I'd be on time, and then I wouldn't have one for a couple of months or whatever, like, and I think that was also a big, but strange, or when I did have it, it would be really, really, really heavy, and stuff. Sorry. We don't really talk about stuff like this on here usually, but in all this, that's part of what has happened this year. So I'm just going to talk about it and hope, there shouldn't be a stigma around periods, but unfortunately there is. But yeah, so in October, I also wanted to go for an eye test because I hadn't been for a long time. So I got these glasses. I think because working at the school, trying to look at the board, I do need glasses, and I had needed glasses since uni. Stupidly hadn't gone to get them sorted out for a long time. So that was another thing that triggered. And then when I went for the said eye test, they told me that, oh, okay, so I think you might need to go to the doctors and get tested or checked out for diabetes or high cholesterol. And I thought, okay. I was very shocked. But I guess, that would have explained why I was feeling sluggish, why things might have been a bit off with me generally. Yeah, so unfortunately, working in school, you can't really get doctor's appointments very easily. So I had to wait for a little while until the next holiday. I think it was probably like early January. But I managed to get a blood test on a Saturday. I think it was before that. I think I was meant to have a diabetes test in January, but then I booked a blood test just to see if they could check for it, and then because it was really hard to get a doctor's appointment, unfortunately, during the week at the doctor's that's like close to me. But I did the blood test and then that earlier on than that, I think, and they said, yeah, you are pre-diabetic. So there's like levels where you're diabetic, and then there's healthy, like blood levels, and then there's pre-diabetes, which is like in the middle. So it's basically like I'm at risk of diabetes if I continue, my love for sugar. I think I've always had sugary things. Unfortunately, has been a little bit it's hard to get away from. So I was thinking about doing the gym again, but then I thought it's expensive, and I didn't really want to kind of go back to that. So I thought, well, how am I gonna do this. So I've tried to do fizzy bans. Like I've tried to not drink fizzy and things like that. So I tried thinking about it. I go for daily walks on the weekends and stuff like that, and that helped. Like go for a little walk around my village bit. And then they also, when I got the pre-diabetes diagnosis or whatever, they said, "Did you want to join the prevention program, like through the NHS?" I thought, okay, cool. It took me a while to actually get onto the thing because I was having a lot of problems with logins. But when I eventually got onto it, I don't know why, but I think it was in February that I got onto it and started actually taking it seriously and doing it. February this year. My cycles were still being crazy at this point as well. Just not really happening. I didn't have one for 3 months and then had bleeding all month and so on. But there's probably all of this triggering it, the stress and the worrying about things. But yeah, so I started doing this prevention program. So all it is you have an app called Aviva, really good. You track all of your food, all your drinks, all your walks, everything, like your mood, everything you do. It's like a little diary thing, but it's an app, and it's very good. And then you have monthly calls or fortnightly calls at first with a health coach who's like a nutritionist and gives you tips. They praise you if you're doing well. They try to encourage you. It's a really nice little system. You only get 15-minute calls, but now I'm doing monthly calls. But they just sort of check in with you. How's your health going? How's things in your life? Do you need any ideas, any tips? And it's a really good little program for people that, like me, might have been struggling with all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And then around the same time, so around March, April time, I went to the dentist. Hadn't been to the dentist in a long time because of COVID, and I don't like going, and I think I just kept pushing it off, and I have a really bad habit of pushing things off until I really need to think about them. Just I've always had that problem. Went to dentist, was told my broken tooth needed to be sorted out. I've also got a wisdom tooth this side that needs to come out. So I got that on the okay. So I've actually got that to come out in September now. Finally, I was put through on a referral over the last couple of weeks. This one has also been coming through. So last week I went to get that one checked out and was told, yeah, I think that needs to come out too. So yeah, that's September. Also around the same time, I decided to go and get my cycle checked out. I've never had a cervical screening or a cervical checkup or a smear or anything like that. If anyone is nervous about going to have said checkup or anything like that, don't be nervous at all. The nurses that I saw, and the nurse and the doctor and the ultrasound lady, lovely. They will talk you through things if you need it. They will give you, they're very understanding. They're very conscious of your dignity, everything. They were, I was nervous. I'd never had anything like that before. I'm 30 years old, so I should have probably done this a lot sooner. But again, trying to get hold of my health a bit more this year. So I ended up going to cervical smear, cervical screening. They did, all the normal checks were all clear. Then I went for an ultrasound in this random little place it was like next to a stately home, but it was just easier than the hospital. I think it's like trying to help the hospital out because of the high numbers. So I got that, went to that, was told everything was normal. So I'm thinking maybe the cycle is just stress or just the worrying about the diabetes, or I constantly have work going on. I don't know. And then over the last couple of weeks, so since this school holiday has started, end of July, I have been doing this app called Just Fit, which I just randomly found on TikTok one day. It was just like an app, and it gives you, there's like a 28-day challenge. They've also got wall Pilates and things like that, like lots of different daily exercises you can do, and I have been loving it. I am absolutely knackered after doing it. Like today killed me. But I'm making sure that when I'm in my holiday and, I don't have to pay for it, I can just get my mat out. I've got, oops, I dropped my phone, excuse me. Excuse me for a second. I have these little weights. I have two. Ready? 1 kg. I got myself a mat. I got myself some little shorts. And the last couple of weeks, I have just been making myself follow the lady on the screen. And I'm also trying to eat a lot more fruit. I'm doing daily walks. And just trying to feel better about myself, and lose a bit of weight would be nice too. I'm moving in September, so I'll be closer to my work, so hopefully I can bike to work and I won't have to worry about that too much. So yeah, it's all exciting, but it's weird what one little diagnosis or one little thing can do to like trigger a whole, different health perspective and stuff. But so yeah, guys, definitely give it a try. Just Fit is really good. It's just like a simple app, basically. You just follow the instructions, follow the tips. Yeah, sorry this one's so long. It's such a rambly video, but it was just kind of my perspective and how it's changed. It's made me feel a lot more positive about myself and I feel a lot more active. I give myself like an energy boost once I've done these little workouts during the day. It's now 1 p.m. and I'm going to do some writing, and I already feel a lot more energized. I'm going to go for a walk in a bit as well. And just, it's nice to feel good about yourself.